Tonight, Donald Trump stood in the East Room of the White House and did two things at once. First, he tried to convince you that your own elections can't be trusted. Then, he threatened the press for refusing to hand him their airwaves. I'm going to walk you through what he said, what he didn't say, and why he's really doing this. Because once you see the whole picture, tonight's speech stops looking scary and starts looking incredibly desperate. Let's start with the main headline. Trump told the country that China carried out, in his words, the largest compromise of election data in history. 220 million American voter files, supposedly stolen by Beijing, starting in the 2020 election cycle. And then he went further. He claimed his own government, the deep state, knew about it and covered it up. Hid it from him, hid it from you. And to prove it, the White House dumped hundreds of pages of so called declassified documents. It sounds explosive, right? Here's what he didn't tell you. U.S. intelligence agencies already investigated this years ago. The 2021 National Intelligence Council assessment, produced by career intelligence professionals, concluded with high confidence that China did not attempt to interfere with the outcome of the 2020 election. No foreign power tampered with ballots. No foreign power touched the vote count, period. There was a report back in April 2020 that found Chinese intelligence analyzed voter registration data from some states. Analyzed. Why? To do public opinion research on the American election. That's it. Nothing in that document, nothing, accused China of manipulating anything. And here's the part that should make you laugh instead of panic. Voter registration files, your name, your address, your party affiliation, your voting history. In many states, that's public record. You can buy it. Campaigns buy it every single election cycle. Looking at voter data is not hacking an election. It's not changing a ballot. It's not altering a single certified vote. And don't take my word for it. Take the White House's. Before the speech, Trump's own officials admitted the documents contain no allegation, none, that any votes were changed or any machines were hacked in 2020. So who put these declassified documents together? Not the intelligence community. Trump's acting intelligence director was handed the power to declassify documents unilaterally, without approval from the CIA, without consulting other agencies. The effort is being run in part by Devin Nunes and White House political staffers whose entire job is reinvestigating the election Trump lost. This was not intelligence. This was a political operation wearing the intelligence community's clothes. But Trump wasn't done there. He then claimed a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security found 278,000 non-citizens registered to vote. And because Democratic states won't hand over their voter files, he says the real number is probably much higher. Okay, let's talk about where numbers like this actually come from. For 2 years, the Justice Department has been demanding voter rolls from all 50 states. About 17 Republican-led states handed them over. Everyone else, Republican and Democrat officials alike, said no, because privacy laws protect that data and the federal government has no authority over state voter lists. So the DOJ sued 30 states, plus the District of Columbia. You know their record so far? 0 and 15. Every single lawsuit that's been resolved, they lost. In the database they used to flag so-called non-citizens, a federal judge blocked it last month. Judge Sparkle Suknanan found that the administration built a data clearinghouse Congress expressly prohibited, and then knowingly fed inaccurate data to states that were, in her words, actively and haphazardly purging people from the voter rolls. Real American citizens, naturalized citizens who did everything right, flagged as non-citizens, forced to prove their citizenship, some purged without even knowing it. The judge wrote that the federal government knowingly trampled on the privacy rights of American citizens. That's not me talking, that's a federal judge. And here's the perspective that destroys the whole thing. Earlier this year, DHS ran more than 60 million voter registrations through its verification program. You know how many potential non-citizens it flagged? About 24,000. That's 400 per million, a fraction of 1%. And many of those turned out to be citizens who were flagged by mistake. Tonight, Trump conjured a number more than 10 times larger, out of the same broken system a judge just shut down, with zero methodology attached. So why? Why go on national television 6 years after losing an election and recycle claims your own government already debunked? Because Trump told us why. Right there in the middle of his speech, he demanded Congress pass the Save America Act, his stalled voting restrictions bill. And he said, the only reason you wouldn't do it is if you want to cheat. Think about what that means. If you oppose this bill, you're a cheater. Opposition itself becomes evidence of fraud, and that's the entire game. And here's the thing, the bill is dying. It can't pass on its own merits. Speaker Mike Johnson is trying to sneak in a version of it through the budget process, and even that doesn't have the votes. Republican Senator Tom Tillis says he'll refuse to vote for the entire budget if SAVE is attached. He called it a waste of time and an exercise in futility. When a president can't convince his own party with arguments, there's only one move left: manufacture a crisis. That's what tonight was. The China documents, the phantom non-citizens, the East Room spectacle, all of it exists to create an atmosphere of emergency. Because emergency is the only environment where the bill survives. 4 months before midterms, his party is afraid of losing. And then he did the most dangerous thing of the night. ABC, NBC, and CNN looked at this speech, a speech built on claims their own reporting had already debunked, and they made an editorial decision. They streamed it, they did cover it, they fact-checked it, they just didn't hand over their broadcast networks for it. That is their First Amendment right. It's not even unusual. Networks have declined to carry addresses from Obama, from Biden, and from Bush. Trump's response? He said their broadcast licenses should be revoked. Think about that. Not criticized, not fact-checked, revoked. A sitting president of the United States threatening to strip news organizations of their ability to exist because they simply wouldn't put him on air on his terms. And this is not an empty threat. His handpicked FCC chair has already opened investigations into these networks. He publicly pressured them to carry the speech. And the FCC could move as early as next month to start pulling the licenses of Disney's ABC stations. So let's call tonight what it actually was: authoritarianism driven by desperation. A president who can't pass his signature bill through persuasion is trying to pass it through fear, casting doubt on your elections to manufacture the crisis, threatening the press for refusing to amplify it. These are not the actions of a president who respects democracy. They're the actions of a man testing exactly how far he can push before somebody eventually stops him. The network said no tonight. The question is, who says no next? I stand with the TV networks who refuse Trump his bully pulpit. We need more people in government and business to stand up to Trump so we can take back our democracy. If you agree, give me a follow because you're my kind of people.